So just for the average fan who may not know exactly what Zebra technology is in terms of like the Senior Bowl or the NFL, just kind of give them a quick overview of what that is.
Yeah, so we've been in partnership now with the NFL for our 10th, this is our 10th season that we're finishing up here. So we've been the official player tracking and ball tracking provider of the NFL for the past 10 seasons. This is the 6th year we've been tracking the Senior Bowl. So always great to be in Mobile tracking this event. So for every NFL game and for the Senior Bowl, every player will be wearing 2 tags. One will go in each shoulder pad.
Okay.
It goes right underneath the epaulette, and then there is also a chip that's in the football as well.
Okay.
So every player is tracked for every NFL game and for every practice and game that's happening here at the Senior Bowl. And this is the 6th season we've done it now for the Senior Bowl.
Okay, and so why should certain fans care about like certain stats? Like some of the ones I pulled up was like Devontae Walker yesterday had the fastest sprint speed, or Shao Smith-Wade has 56 explosive efforts. Like, why should fans care about that? And kind of explain what an explosive effort is.
Yeah, so the speed is an easy one to point to. It's just another way to characterize the athlete and just to get a better overall picture and component that you could add to the scouting profile. So it's very easy to say, this guy runs smooth routes, this guy has high top end speed, but with actually calculating miles per hour and how fast the guy runs, you're actually able to tie some of the things that you're seeing and with actual real data behind it. If something is being told to you how fast the guy runs, and a scout might think, well, I didn't think he was very fast. Maybe it gives you a pause. Maybe that's something I need to go back and look at. Maybe I need to watch the tape again to see, did I miss something? Was it a certain route? Maybe he runs that he didn't run in college, but he's running those routes here, and he's very fast running these routes. Maybe that's something that they missed in the athlete profile. The explosive efforts is a combination of a couple different metrics that we collect. It's accelerations and decelerations. So that's just the metric that we have, and it's the sum of those 2 metrics. So obviously NFL, a big part of it is being explosive and being able to accelerate and decelerate. Right. So explosive efforts you obviously want to see from all the athletes, but very easy to see among the receivers and defensive backs when they're doing their one-on-ones and teams, and same things for the running backs and all the defensive backs that are doing that the entire practice.
I know you guys have tracked obviously thousands and thousands of players, but that thing you were talking about where it says it gives a scout pause, is there a specific example you can think of that you've heard of, or?
I don't know if there's let me try to think if there's anything that is given pause, but there was an example. I actually spoke with a scout, and I mentioned how the overall speed profile for a player, where maybe his max speed overall isn't that high, but he's able to get to a max speed that isn't as high as the others, but get to it very quickly. Mm-hmm. So if a guy is able to get to a top end speed very quickly versus someone else gets to a higher top speed, but it takes them a lot longer to get there. So in football, obviously plays happen within 3 seconds. You want to try and get to that top speed as fast as you can. So one of the things that he related was, does this player have 100-meter speed or 400-meter speed? Mm-hmm. Does it take him a while to get to that top speed, or could the player get to that speed extremely fast? Where I think we kind of saw that with Tyreek Hill when he did the 100-meter race, and he lost. I forget where he came in, but yeah, obviously his top end speed. By the time he's running away from guys downfield, no one's catching him.
Right. Yeah, no, I ran track and cross country in high school, so I kind of get what I was definitely more the slow burn guy type of speed in that regard.
I was neither, so.
That's great. But obviously, you said earlier that you guys been with the NFL for 10 years and Senior Bowl for 6. Where do you want to see Zebra continue to be implemented here at the Senior Bowl and the NFL moving forward?
Yeah, so I think continuing that relationship with the NFL is obviously very important. Love working in conjunction with the NFL and expanding our platform with them. Continuing to expand with the Senior Bowl. The data has become really popular now as the years have gone on. I remember when we started this in 2018, we didn't have a public website. We were distributing just reports on paper. So we've really come a long ways with the Senior Bowl, and just I think continuing to expand that relationship and trying to get more of the data out there, and to trying to get more granular within the data, where now we're showing speeds, we're showing explosive efforts. Now it's maybe trying to dive in deeper to that next aspect, and I think doing that with the Senior Bowl is a great time to do that. And we have the best players that are here. The Senior Bowl is extremely supportive, and now that we have going back years to this data, we're trying to continue to expand on that data set. I think is important and something that we hope to do.
Soft tissue injuries have been a big part of the NFL for obviously a long time. And a bunch of guys recently tearing ACLs and MCLs.
Yeah.
Is there a way that, with some of the data you guys track, that could help, like, I don't want to say necessarily predict, because it's hard to predict injuries, but kind of give more information for a training staff about certain guys?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the big things that the NFL and we want to help with is seeing if the tracking data could assist in any way with the health and safety of the player. So I think we want to continually to work with the NFL on seeing if it can. Specifically, we have practice teams that use the tracking technology that we use here. So they use it every day for practices. So teams are constantly monitoring the athletes, how much they're running, the recovery after a game day. So one piece of it that we focus on here is the scouting part of it, but definitely a huge piece of it is the practice part, recovery and rehab, getting back up to return to play, coming off of injury. That's just another huge aspect of it. So I think the player tracking component is definitely a part of it, and something that teams do use every day, whether that's during the season, it's the off season, it's OTAs, it's training camp. Keeping the players healthy is the best for the teams and best for the players. So I think everyone's on board with that from all the different angles, whether it's player performance, training staff, everyone wants that for the players.
Now, you said this one usually goes into the ball, right?
Yep.
And big topic of conversation for a couple of years now is spotting the ball. Right?
Yep.
And the fans, I was like, there's a chip in a ball. Why can't they like track where the ball actually is instead of using like an index card and the chains and all that kind of stuff? So where could that potentially go, and what would it take to more accurately place the ball? Because there is always a human component and human error with this.
Yeah, so I think the big thing is everyone thinks that it's extremely easy to implement, but there's obviously lots of moving parts. Is the player down? Do you have a good video angle? So I think we want to continually to work with the NFL to see if there's possibilities where the chip in the ball could provide that level of that's good enough to be able to provide a 100% answer. Like, you want to use the data to come to these conclusions, but you also can't say, well, we're 95% sure that the ball should be here, but what about the other 5%? So it's all about balancing that, and there's a bunch of different factors going on. Like I said, is the player down? Where's the football? Do you have a good video angle? So I think ultimately we would love the tracking technology and the chip in the football to come to a solution, and we're going to continue to work with the NFL on those potential opportunities.
And I agree with that, just for the simple fact that you're talking about that other 5%, because then you'll get fans all angry, like, why are they using this if it's not 100% accurate? So I understand where you're coming from with that.
The point is you want to come to a solution that's right, and whether that's from the officials or from the technology, is you want to make sure that you're doing it to the best you can. You don't want a solution out there that's, like you said, it's inconsistent. You want to have something that's definitive and comes to the right answer, no matter what that is, whether that's through humans or through technology.
So what's the biggest thing that you guys are kind of focusing on now to just Zebra technology with the relation with the NFL for? What's the biggest thing that's focused?
Yeah, so I think just continuing to innovate and support the different initiatives that there's there, with supporting the different events. They're a big proponent of us tracking events like the Senior Bowl, the East-West Shrine. We're starting to track the Combine now, which is another big thing. So tracking these different events and continuing to add onto this player tracking level where you could really get the entire picture, I think is a big part of us in the NFL to try and get that all-encompassing player profile that goes along with the scouting, and to really try to just advance the data and how much it's used in media and personnel and coaching and all the different aspects. I think it's a positive thing for everyone. So I think continuing to expand that, and also to just get people more comfortable and familiar with the data, that knowing that it's there, and it's not meant to push anything out. It's not meant to be negative or to this way is right or this way is another. It's just another piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a thing to like push a player forward or draw a player back. It's to give that full profile like you're talking about.
Exactly, yeah. It only benefits everybody to have more information.
So just for a little bit more background, like how did this relationship with the NFL start in the first place?
Yeah, so 10 years ago, the NFL was looking for a tracking solution to track players. And Zebra, we track everywhere, not just in sports or not just in sports. We're in healthcare, retail. We track a bunch of different assets. The credential that you have on, if you got scanned here or wherever you got scanned, that's actually with a Zebra barcode scanner. So we're in a bunch of different industries. So the NFL was looking for a tracking provider, and ultimately we were involved in the bidding process, and we ended up winning that bid. So we've been working with the NFL ever since then.
Okay. I'm a little familiar with the Zebra scanners. When I'm not doing this, I work at a Walgreens back in Illinois, so I've used the Zebra scanners before for all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're wherever. I wasn't familiar with it either until I started working with Zebra, and then started kind of seeing Zebra everywhere. So.
So do you kind of have like a football background to begin with? Were you a fan of football growing up, or?
Yeah, I was a fan of football growing up. I'm a fan of all the sports. Football, basketball, baseball are the main ones. I played football in high school, so I was always on the analytical side in terms of I loved watching film, loved scouting, loved the tendency aspect of it. I played defense, so of like knowing down and distance, kind of where plays were going to go. I wasn't the most athletically gifted, so it was like being more knowing what's going to happen rather than having to try and read and react. So that's kind of where my love for football began, and then I just kind of happened to end up here.
So what has it just been like for you to be like here at these different events? You're obviously at the Combine, you're at the Senior Bowl, just mixing that your love with technology and data with your love of football.
Yeah, I mean, coming to the Senior Bowl, this is, like I said, we've been doing it since 2018, and I've been in every one of them since then. So I love coming to these events, not even just from the data side and collecting the data and providing all that. I just love being around the players and the coaches and being in the football atmosphere. It's I mean, how could you not love just coming to the stadium and watching football? So I love the draft. I love the whole process that's involved. Loved the draft growing up. Waking up early on the Saturdays when I was on Saturdays and watching it all. So I love, same thing for the Combine. I'd watch the Combine all the time growing up. So being able to contribute to this and from the data and technology side, and then also just being here as a fan, because everyone that works in football is a fan too. So being able to combine the two you can't beat that.
Do you have like a favorite like Senior Bowl stories, or like a specific moment, like not necessarily related to Zebra, but just a moment that stuck out to you in the 6 years you've been here?
Oof, Senior Bowl. Like a player moment, or
player moment, or like whether it was on the field or just an interaction you had, something like that.
Yeah, I think one of the best examples that I like to bring up was there was a player here, Van Jefferson, where I think it was in 2020 or 2021. He was here and participated in the Senior Bowl, but then he ended up getting injured, and he wasn't able to participate in the Combine. But teams were able to leverage the Senior Bowl data here and use that as another form of, part of their scouting. They don't have a 40 time, so they're able to look at, how fast the guy run, and obviously there's a high correlation between 40-yard times and max speed. So I always like pointing to that example as a good one of of how him missing. You weren't able to miss out that scouting piece because he wasn't at the combine. You were able to leverage our data that was here to get a similar picture.
Yeah, and it probably provided a good leaping board for the Rams to eventually pick him, because otherwise there wouldn't be, and not that it saved his career or anything, but it provided the necessary information for him to flourish where he is now.
Exactly, yeah.
So, MJ, do you have anything?
Yeah, Dominic, my question is, obviously the NFL is really big, right? It's probably the most popular sport in the country. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of eyes on it, which helps you guys out. Are there any other big professional sports that you guys are trying to get into? I mean, NBA, NHL. I think last year when I talked to you guys, they showed me a puck. I think a picture of a puck that has a chip in it. But are you guys trying to delve into the same way you are in the NFL into any other sports?
Yeah, so I think we're definitely open to opportunities. It definitely just depends on if it fits and makes sense. We have a great relationship with the NFL, and our technology fits especially well with the NFL with how small these are.
Right.
Sometimes athletes are really specific with obviously what they wear and how it feels on them when they wear. So it fits really well with the NFL, with obviously being in the pads. So we would definitely be open to it, and our technology could definitely do it. It's just a matter of what works for both sides. So I think for now probably the NFL is our bread and butter, but definitely sticking with football too. There's definitely tons of potential opportunities with football, whether that's college or some of the other bowl games. Definitely an opportunity there.
And then the only other thing I have, and this is kind of like a two-prong, you can go either way, is there either a stat that teams are kind of pushing you guys to create / get more information on, and or is there a stat that you would like to see that you guys currently don't track everywhere you go?
Yeah, so I think there's teams always want more data. So there are probably lots of examples there. Always wanted to try and capture more things. Going back to the combine, like tracking we don't have a historical base of everything collected from the combine.
Yeah.
So teams would have a huge want to just get that data is a huge thing. But yeah, there's always stuff. Can you measure this?
Right.
Could you put your tag in in gloves and all those sorts of different things, different scenarios that teams ask about, and sometimes it's possible and sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
So definitely lots of examples from that standpoint.
And how light are those? Aren't they just
a little over 3 grams?
Oh my
wow.
gosh.
Okay. Yeah. So I think it was 3.3 grams. Yeah.
That's crazy. So I mean, it makes it pretty easy for the players not to feel them.
Yeah, they don't feel them. Yeah, and even if they're not wearing shoulder pads, they'll wear it in the compression shirts or a jersey, and there'll just be pouches sewn in, and the same thing. It'll be put in there, and you could barely feel it.
Just a quick follow-up with that. I think we used to talk about historical data with the combine. Did you mean like look past combines and all that times and trying to put that into what you guys track? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, so we're just starting now to track the combine, so we don't have that data set is very much in its infancy. We don't have all that going back. Where the Senior Bowl, we were going back 6 years now on the tracking data that we have there. So we're starting to build a pretty good base for what the college guys look like out of the Senior Bowl. Where the combine we don't have that, and it's obviously different. They're in pads here. They're not in pads there. They do very specific drills at the combine, 40, the shuttle, all that stuff, running routes, 3-cone, all that stuff.
Love it.
I think that's all.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you so much for taking the time with us. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.